Know me, my name's Michael Uribe. I'm an insurance entrepreneur. At least that's the way that I like to call it. Outside of that, though, I'm also a stoic, a philosopher, lover of literature. My background consists of, at first, I worked in the food-based business, so restaurants. I was a server, I was a cook. And then over the last couple of years, I've worked in different call centers and insurance companies before forming my own. I've also done a lot of sales online, high-ticket sales from intangible products, so ranging from lead generation, coaching, consulting. And how did I get here? I would say with a lot of help. I've met a lot of people along the way, a lot of fortunate people who have, shared their blessings with me, and a lot of learning. And so upon my path, it's just been a consistent pursuit of learning, doing, and more doing.
I love that. Mm-hmm. So you said you're a stoic.
I am.
And you're into literature. What are some of the, what are your top books? Let's just start with that. Like some of the books that have led you into, or I guess it doesn't have to be a book, but what's led you into calling yourself a stoic?
Yeah, so I've had specific life experiences, you could call them, in which I experienced high levels of emotional, for lack of better term, stress. And these experiences pushed me on a path to where I was pushed to look inward. And so upon this discovery of going inward instead of outward, I came across Stoicism. I've always been a lover of philosophy, but Stoicism in particular, because it's a way of it's a philosophy in how we can focus on what we can control and let go of that of which we can't. And so for me, I've naturally been a person who was always trying to control the things outside of me. And Stoicism has pushed me to a place where I'm much more secure in who I am. And so instead of trying to control everything that's outside of me, I'm much more focused on controlling that of what's inside of me. And so, it's a methodology and a philosophy and really a life concept of how we can live better practical lives without losing control.
Are you comfortable talking about any of those life experiences that have led you in there, or rather not go into details?
What I would say to that is for the different life experiences, it would just really depend, but not focused on the actual experience itself. What's more important is the story or the narrative that we extract from such experience. And so I'm more focused on what is the retelling of my mindset or my consciousness regarding such experience as opposed to the experience itself.
That's deep. I had to think about that for a second. I mean, I could we won't dive into details,
sure,
but I think I know some of the experiences that you're referencing,
right.
Maybe some of the other members in the group, but obviously for a public podcast, maybe not be something that you want to go into, but 100% get what you're putting down. And I just have to say, ever since I met you, you've always been very straightforward, very direct, and also in a way authentic, and just bringing a lot of value in who you are and how you see the world and how you want to serve the world. And so I want to thank you for that, because you have a really elegant way of speaking and putting ideas and concepts together. And I remember for the very first time that we met at the dinner, I don't remember what you said exactly, but I just remember you sharing, and you were really open and really vulnerable and really authentic, and I just resonated that with a lot. And it's awesome to see you, because you've been traveling, which we'll talk about. But today we're back in Medellin, Colombia. We're shooting this here in the studio, and so I'd love to hear how did you end up in what brought you to Medellin in the first place, your first time coming here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much again, Tom. What brought me here was originally I was in the Dominican Republic, and I had begun my agency. And so we began creating a sales team virtually. And so I started looking for people in Colombia by happenstance. And by happenstance, they happened to be in Medellin. Now, what I personally believe, I think people from Medellin, people in Colombia are some of the best sellers in the world.
Really?
Really, really good. So originally I came here because I was forming a sales team. I came to meet them in person after we already started the agency virtually. And then, once you're here, you're here. And it's hard to get out of here. It's hard to leave.
Yeah. No, it's true.
Yeah. So originally for a sales team, and then I ended up staying because I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so you were here, we met, I think it was last year. It's been about a year actually. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you started traveling. So I know this has been like a huge new chapter in your life. I'd love to unpack that a little bit. You traveled to Asia, so completely different time zone. Tell me about that experience. Like, where'd you go first? Where do you spend most of your time, and how has that like impacted your life and changed?
Sure. So for me, again, with like a literature background, I always think whenever we change the scene or the stage, so do we also change the characters. And so finding myself in Asia, I began to take on a complete new character. We call him Asian Boss Mike.
Okay.
And yeah, so that adventure led me to spending the majority of my time in Thailand, primarily in Bangkok, but also a couple weeks in Vietnam, which was so much fun and amazing. And then also to the Philippines, where I got to meet some of my other staff. That is part of the other side of the world's team. Yeah, what did I learn? So much, man. It was a retreat of minimalism. It was a retreat of letting go of all of the vanity and all of the things that I thought I needed, but I really didn't. I went from living in my super huge Colombian penthouse to like a capsule luxury apartment. So, we're talking 150 meters to, 30, so downsizing very much. But it was a great trip, a great voyage. I find the signal to noise ratio is much more quieter there for me. And so I was able to focus in, really dive in. My agency grew over 200%, and just being away for 4 months.
200%, meaning
we doubled in size.
Doubled. More than doubled.
Yeah, more than doubled, and we're going to continue to grow and to continue to scale. So yeah, the signal to noise ratio is very low there, and so it allows me to really focus in on what I'm pursuing.
And what are you pursuing?
I think really just a consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. So not really with any clear indicator or specific metric I want to hit, but really just a continuous pursuit, pursuing something that is really sustainable, that I can also share with others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Persistent pursuit
of my potential.
Of your potential. Pure excellence.
Yeah.
And is that in what aspect? Like in all areas, or?
Yeah, I think in just the aspect of just being and becoming. Anything I ever thought I could have been, I've become. And then anything I've become, at one point I didn't believe it was possible until it was. And so really, we think like thinking will change our action, but our actions are what changes our thinking. And so stepping out of my own comfort zone, expanding my own beliefs. I think sometimes we operate on expired beliefs, and all beliefs are behavior driven. And so to create new beliefs, create new behaviors.
Yeah, so you're flipping the script, because a lot of people are meditate, manifest, envision, visualize, and then you can become. But you're just flipping the script, and you're saying, if you want to be that person, just do what that person's doing, and the thinking is going to follow.
Absolutely, yeah. Nothing beats execution. Like execution beats thinking every single time.
So would you contribute your business going 200% growth to the fact that you changed the scene and changed the character?
Absolutely, yeah. Asian Boss Mike, he brought in qualities and parts of the story and intricacies and props, that Don Mike, the Colombian version didn't. And so, yeah, I just found myself much more focused. Again, the signal to noise ratio got more quieter. And so it just allowed me to channel my focus even more.
So this, we can call it an alter ego.
Sure.
Is this something that you intentionally created and you put a name to? Or is this just like this kind of manifested of itself?
Yeah.
And are you in the Asian Boss Mike while in Medellin, or is that only while you're in Asia?
Yeah, great question. So there's a particular word that I encourage anyone listening to look up, and the word's called introject. Okay. It's a psychological word. And so pretty much what an introject is the almost like if we download someone else, we can download parts of someone else or of a character we're watching on TV, if you will. And so we call these, we're referring to them as alter egos. They're simply introjects of other people, places, and things that I've put together. And so some of it's done consciously, but then other parts of it we can also take on introjects unconsciously. You ever hang out with someone and then you start saying the same words as them without realizing it? That is an example of introject. And so part of it's conscious, and then the other part of it's unconscious.
Interesting. And for your unique situation, because you were in Asia, it got a lot more quieter. You keep mentioning the signal to noise ratio, right?
Yeah. Yep. So in Medellin, I'm primarily Don Mike.
Okay.
But in Asia,
And what's the difference?
Boss Asian Mike, he's not seeking validation from anyone. I find that he's actually even more of a stoic. Epictetus says, if you look for a witness, be your own. Because when you look outside yourself, you are now losing all integrity. Sometimes we gain the world and lose who we really are in the process. And so I think Asian Boss Mike, I think because of the language, because of the culture, because of the society, when you're in Asia and someone bumps you, you don't get mad. It's like, it's okay, you're in Asia. But, if someone would bump you maybe in Latin America or elsewhere in the world, you might look at them another way, or you might say, hey, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
So I think environment has everything to do with it, and environment's more powerful than willpower. And so curating our environment, I think, can really lead to outcomes we never planned or expected.
And have you taken things you learned there, or maybe things about the environment itself, and come back and applied them now that you're back in Medellin? Or is it more about the actual country and like the whole, because obviously like the environment is like the room that we're sitting in, right?
Yeah.
We could change the lighting, we could change the painting on the wall, we could put books on the bookshelf, right? We could change the environment a lot without actually leaving anywhere. Is there things like micro environment changes that you've made?
So yeah, there's been micro changes within my own environment. One of them being I just find myself drinking tea all the time.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, I'm always drinking tea, I know. And then also, but also other changes. So I think there's changes where we add in addition to, and then there's also changes where we increase through subtraction, or multiply through subtraction. So
Subtract, yeah.
for me, primarily, like I've removed all alcohol from my life. So it's been over 6 months without having any alcohol or any other like external substances in my life. And so that's something I picked up there. And for the betterment, I've continued that here. And it's been like a spiraling effect of the added benefits that keep on coming and compounding, from such. So I think sometimes when making changes, we think that it's always about doing something, but sometimes it's just we can multiply through subtraction.
Yeah. Doing less.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you do 9 things right, if you're doing one thing that's wrong, and it can beget all 9 that you're doing right.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. So Bangkok was your primary hub while you were there. Why Bangkok out of, there's a lot of places in Asia.
Yeah. It just kind of happened. I had a friend from my hometown who was visiting there, named Tony. And so Tony, he happened to be there, and that's where he kind of showed me around. And so it kind of just fell into that.
Okay.
It's always nice to have a brother with you, wherever you are and wherever you go to, especially if it's your first time exploring. And then really it just grew from there. Bangkok reminds me of Medellin, but Asian style, and similar, but I think I would say less traffic. But they have really great luxury living there, really great food, a great like lifestyle you can have, and things are, the economy there is very good for those that earn in another currency.
And when you were out there, it sounds like you were pretty much like locked in monk mode type, building the business, that sort of thing. Did you get to experience? Let's talk about this. The community in Medellin, right? Since you've joined the group, it's been about a year.
Yep.
And you met a lot of people. I'd love to hear, what has that been like for you? What kind of people have you met here, entrepreneurs here in Medellin? And how did that compare to Bangkok with the experience while you were there? Obviously you weren't, there that long compared to you have been here, and you weren't part of a group like this, but how do the two compare, and what has it been like here?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Tom. So yeah, I would say here is like home for me. Here is my primary base. With some of the people that I met in Bangkok, some were entrepreneur related, but nothing like the amount that we have here. At least I didn't come across. Right. Yeah, as far as you still have digital nomads, you have people working online. Whereas here for me, it's just a different type of living. It's playing the same game but on a different map. And so here, what's enjoyable is to have the community, to have people I can call on, and then I can partake and enjoy. There, I don't have that as much, but that kind of leads me into more of the focused, hyper-focused work. And so I think there's benefits. And so I think they both complement each other.
How has your experience been with the community, specifically the Entrepreneur House? You know, been here. Obviously, you're traveling a good portion of it. We stayed in touch a little bit. But the community itself is obviously, in Medellin. So the time that you've been here, how's that been for you? What has your experience been like?
Sure. One thing I would say, just in addition, is the cool thing about me being in Asia and the Entrepreneurs House community is that we even had some members over there that I could connect with. And so even though I was so far away, it's so cool to know that you have other people that are like-minded, similar, entrepreneurial, that you can just call. And it's almost like, they'll do a favor for you. They'll scratch your back. They'll help you out. They'll make sure you still have a sense of community and connection. And so I experienced that when I was there, but also coming back here, it's like being back in the source. So everything is that much more on a macro level, but all the same thing. Here it's nice because me coming back just 5 weeks ago now, I had a roster of people I could call on. I was already being invited to events. It kind of, with me being away for quite a period of time, it almost kind of shook off the dust and got me feeling like I was home right away. And so that for me is one of my most favorite tenets of what the community offers, and it's the connection piece. It's the authenticity piece. It's the piece that I can find other people that are like me, that are similar, that are like-minded, and not everyone is like-minded, but they can also give me other perspectives, that I can consider.
Totally.
And so so being back here is great, and that's also the reason why I feel comfortable being back. It's because I know I can call those people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I want to ask you. You said you're big into literature.
Yeah.
Books. Are you a big reader? Audio guy?
I was a big reader for a long time. I'm still an audio guy.
Okay.
But yeah, I've read a lot of different books. Yeah.
What would you say is your most recommended book that you give?
Are we talking like business generally?
Just most recommended in general. Like if you talk, however many, I'm assuming you talk to a lot of business people. So if you recommend.
Yeah. So for building a business or starting a business, the E-Myth, right? By Michael Gerber is pretty good. For personal development and mindset, No Excuses by Brian Tracy is great.
Okay.
The Luck Factor by Brian Tracy is another great one. For sales and psychology, Influence by Robert Cialdini is great. And
what about Stoicism?
Stoicism, the general book that is shared amongst the community is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. And so that's a really good starting place to start kind of tuning into some Stoicism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that book. I think I have to read it a couple more times because when you're reading it, it's translated for, I don't know, a couple different languages, or at least one big language. And it's like, okay, the English that we speak today is much different than how that is being translated in the English. Right. So when I read it, I was like, wow, this is really deep, but I had to like reread multiple sentences multiple times because it was like, it was just a little bit different than how we speak today.
Absolutely.
But it was a phenomenal book. But I feel like if I reread it, probably 80% of it went over my head. So if I were to reread it, I don't know if you read it more than once or if you just like studied it, but for me, it took some time to really like let it digest.
For sure. Yeah, that's not my only form of learning Stoicism. I'm also I'm in a couple different groups online regarding Stoicism, and a couple people I follow. Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, Ryan Holiday
is another great resource. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, do you follow Robert Greene?
I do.
Yeah,
I do as well.
So I don't know, is this true? Ryan Holiday was mentored by Robert Greene?
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think Robert Greene is great. I think he offers a lot of practical advice, especially with navigating the complexities of human relationships and dynamics. I follow both of them.
Yeah, I read the first Robert Greene book was The Laws of Human Nature. I don't know if you read that one, but that book was probably the most insightful book of learning about myself. Have you read it?
I have skimmed it.
It's a big book.
Yep.
But when I read that, I was like, this book has probably taught me the most amount of things I've ever learned about myself.
Right.
Like, it's about human nature, which
Yeah.
the title kind of self describes what it's about. But it goes really deep into the psychology and like why we do the things that we do and act the way that we act. And I was like, wow, I like a lot of this is me right here as I'm reading it. And I haven't gotten like deep into the stoicism stuff, but I read a couple Robert Greene's and Ryan Holiday. I can't remember the book. I think
The Obstacle is the Way.
Obstacle is the Way. And there's like a one about ego, I think. I can't remember the title.
Ego is the Enemy.
Ego is Enemy. Yes, that's right.
Right.
But I really resonated with those two authors. Robert Greene has a way of just like, I mean, I don't know how he does it, but he puts stories together that are so fascinating. He ties them into the philosophy that he's teaching. Yeah. But again, you're going to be reading a book that's like 800 pages. So it's a long read, but it's definitely worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I concur with what you're sharing. I look at the world, animalistically and psychologically. And so there's a famous economist named Adam Smith who says it's not by the benevolence of the butcher, the baker, or the brewer that we receive our dinner, but in regard to their own self-interest. And so I think it's really important to understand human nature, to understand the self-interest of others. And by doing so, you can apply the laws and co-create a reality, that is custom made to your liking.
And when you say animalistically, what does that mean?
Yeah, animalistically. Again, I think it concurs with psychology, but animalistically in terms of human nature, self-interest, realizing the law of reciprocity is something real, realizing that not all things are unconditional. Most things actually, in fact, are conditional. And so, the cat determines what milk is good. And so it's very important to take into account and looking at things realistically. In literature, I studied so much realism. That was always my favorite type of way of looking at things. And so oftentimes I think we are, not seeing things as clearly as we could. And so being able to look at them, from a more realistic frame, I think will better serve us all.
And so what's next for Michael?
I have no plan, bro.
Yeah, you're sharing about that. So what is this new, no attachment, no commitments, no day by day, or no plan, but living day by day? Tell me about that.
Sure. The way the frame looks at for me, Tom, is it's kind of like a character who beat their story mode. And so of course there's going to be multiple quests. The quest will continue, the story will continue to evolve, but the principal quest I think I completed. And so right now I'm enjoying free roam and
creative mode.
Yeah, creative mode, and just having fun. Something naturally will come up. It's the oftentimes it's the repetition of the hero's journey. So something else will come up at some point. And but for me, I'm not seeking any new obligations or any long-term commitments that would make me alter my daily activity. And a lot of that came from my frame that I adopted in Asia. Just being able to focus on one thing, enjoy my time while I was doing it, and not taking any of it too serious, because we never got out of here alive anyway.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot with AI recently, GPT, and I had this I can't remember the prompts, but had it come up with these truths, these 5 truths. And one of them that I've been spending a lot more thought on is the fact that we're all going to die.
Yes.
Is that if I were to die today or tomorrow, would I be happy with the man that I am and the actions and the things that I'm doing? And that meditation of just that and that thought alone of just having that practice as a daily thing has been really impactful. It's actually had like a bit of a paradigm shift for me where it's like, okay, if I were to die tomorrow, like what are the things that I'm doing that are just like bullshit?
Right.
And it just helps me be able to realize that and cut that stuff out.
Yeah, that's a great frame, Tom. A lot of people, most people's strategy in life is just to protect their ego, for their human existence. And to find all the reasons to justify it and to rationalize regarding it. But, I think contemplating frames like that, like if I would die tomorrow, what are the things that are non-productive or non-useful that I'm currently engaging in? I think that can help us make better daily, life choices and it's very practical. So I think it's a really healthy frame to filter things through.
So obviously, since you've been gone, the group has been growing. We're nearly at 100 members. A lot of the members that are in the group watch these podcasts. And also for people who aren't in the group, or maybe future members that will be joining, what is something that they could reach out to you for, connect with me? I could do an intro that you would be able to help them with, fellow friends in the group.
Yeah, for the fellow friends and members in the group, they can reach out to examine their sales process. So if they're selling something online, whatever it may be, they can reach out if they want to identify what's working, what can be tweaked, for any type of improvisation, and also if they want another perspective. I also engage in contrarian thinking, and so sometimes thinking the opposite of what the norm thinks. And so if they just want another perspective or someone else to examine something that they're focused on or doing, I'm always happy to provide that perspective.
Yeah, and your strength is sales.
Yeah,
that's like your expertise.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I remember you were mentioning that at the beginning when we joined. You're like, "Hey, Tom, anytime you need help, sales, like I got you. That's my thing."
For sure.
Amazing. So anyone who wants to reach out, obviously they can connect with you inside the group. Future members, reach out to me, can make introductions, that sort of thing. And yeah, we were just talking off camera about journaling a bit. I just want to bring that back up because I think that's super interesting. I think it's had a huge impact on my life. I would love to hear your experience with your practice of writing, how you use that throughout your journey, your day to day. Like, what is your journaling and writing practice like, and how has that evolved since you started?
I appreciate everything, Tom. That's a great question. My writing style has shifted a bit over the years. Before it was much more formalized, and so it was structured, it was rule based. And now I typically write from a place of stream of consciousness. So kind of whatever comes up is what I put down. Writing itself, for me, it serves as evidence. And so evidence that the things I focused on came true. They materialized. And so for me, it's great to go back and to, have, a decade of evidence of these things I was focused on, or the things I was writing, and seeing them materialize. And so that's the primary tool that it serves for me when looking back. And then on a day-to-day basis, it serves for me as a friend, as a way of me developing a better relationship with myself, as a cathartic release. And so being able to talk with myself in the most positive way.
So you're using that to get your thoughts down, and then basically reflecting on what you've written.
Yeah, reflecting on what I wrote, examining it. Examining why I wrote what I wrote, going back and after writing what I wrote, re-examining it, reflecting why, understanding what I was feeling in the moment, and understanding what was being communicated to me through environment, through behavior, through feelings. And so writing is almost like a time capsule, where you want to jot this down. You don't know exactly why, but I better come back and look at this. And so it serves that purpose for me.
You're familiar with Jim Rohn? I'm sure you've heard of Jim Rohn. Yes. So he has a great audio on how to keep a journal, or something to the effect of like journaling. And one of the things that he says is obviously reflect on the journal, examine that. But oftentimes, more than what's written on the pages, you're not just learning from that, but also you're learning more from what's not written and what you left off in different phases of your life. And I thought that was a really interesting perspective of, okay, it's not just the words that I wrote, but also it's beyond what's not written.
For sure.
In the journal.
For sure.
And only, obviously, the writer themselves can know that.
Right.
Someone else reading it who doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know your life, doesn't know the different experiences you had and the different moments, wouldn't be able to pick those subtle things up. But as the writer themselves reflecting on, you can start to notice, wow, I remember there's more to the story than is actually written.
That I agree with. And then also the idea, if you leave it in your head, it's dead. And so anything that's coming up, I definitely believe in writing it, because if not, it kind of just vanishes into the dark hole, and then you have to wait for it to come back up again. And we don't know if or when that will happen again.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your experience, your wisdom. I feel like we have so much to talk about, and it's been a pleasure getting to know you over the past year. I have to thank Joshua again for introducing us, because I know he was the connection originally. So yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I know you're not a big social guy. Is there anything that you want to share where people can find you? Or
Well, my Instagram is the real Michael Uribe, and then just like in the wise words of Theodore Roosevelt, do what you can, where you are, with what you have.
Amazing. Well, down that note, thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.